Hey everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how some people left Udemy to form a different company. All right, welcome back. So let's take a look at Udemy here. So the stock market kind of went down today. Yesterday was kind of weird, if I'm going to be perfectly frank. When Russia invades Ukraine, you expect the stock market to fall, but it didn't. And even I bought the dip and made some money day trading yesterday. So anyway, you can see here that things are a little bit down today, but nevertheless, I think we're still in that big downtrend. I don't think it was invalidated yet. There might have been a candlestick that was slightly a bit above here, but I still think that downtrend's there. If it breaks, you'll be the first to know because I will be doing a video about that. But today, I want to talk about some key people from Udemy that left, and what they've done is they've left to build a better Udemy. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about this here, because what they've built here is not really Udemy, okay? Because I always say that there should be competition with Udemy here, and so these people here, this Darren Shimkus, and the old CEO, Dennis Yang. In fact, I could probably do a whole video about the different CEOs of Udemy and what they've done. But anyway, so what they've done here is they grew Udemy to be a very profitable business, and then they decided to leave and do their own thing. And so what they're doing is they're launching a company called Modal, which is actually a really good name, by the way, which I'll talk about in a minute here. And then what it does is it's basically a learning platform. But the key difference here is, if I kind of read this here, we're not in the model of where instructors come and publish something on the platform. We own all the content that we're creating. Eventually, the platform will teach skills like natural language processing, Python, and data storytelling. Okay, so the company declined to share revenue targets. But if I share my revenue targets, it's never going to work out anyway. It's very difficult to share revenue targets because it's so hard to get sales here. And the number of customers, even the customer names, it makes money through classic enterprise B2B sales models. So that means it's a subscription, and it's very difficult to do that. But these guys know what they're doing. They have done this before, and they've even been in the e-learning industry here. However, Dennis Yang did leave right after the price change. So I'm not sure if Dennis had anything to do with it. Obviously it's his CEO, it's his work, but I'm not sure if. I think it was some other people at the company that kind of pushed for that here. All right, so the overlap between Modal's vision and Udemy's mission is hard to ignore. Both companies are selling upskilling services to enterprise in fear of either losing talent or lagging development. Okay, so the thing is that Udemy is doing what these guys are doing as well, and this is the UFB. And as we know from looking at the balance statements, that Udemy is really focused on the enterprise market, in which they absolutely should. That's where you get the most growth when it comes to business here. But however, Udemy should really be also focusing on the marketplace, because this is not something that anyone else is. It's not really. It's not something that they're really pushing for now, which they really should. And they also acquired CorpU, which is kind of a B2B model here. So if we take a look at the platform here, and Modal is such a great name because when you think of like shifting modes of education, it's really good here. And so very well done here. This website, in terms of like in terms of what they're learning here, very well done. So what they're trying to do here is you can see that they have projects in practice, live sessions, communities, asynchronous learning, self-paced, and technical labs, and on-demand coaching and support here. So Udemy could, I've been pushing for Udemy to do lots of these things over the years, but Udemy does have a few things like this as well here. But what they're doing is they're crafting a more an updated version of what Udemy is trying to do here. But Udemy does have some good. I mean, like, people see, the thing about when it comes to like types of classes, a simple video course is going to still do really well. When you do this kind of extra stuff and like this kind of extra functionality, it's hard to get the users engaged in that, right? But everyone knows how to watch a video and do a tutorial, right? Because they start off, let's face it, everyone starts off on YouTube here, right? So you can see here that, they're really going all out with this kind of different model here. Now, this is really interesting because this is a company that is mostly building on like a service and service as well as their own content. Now, we know from Treehouse, because Treehouse hasn't been doing as well, that this kind of company isn't as investable. But they are going to the B2B market, so maybe it is a little bit more. And so they've raised almost $7 million. So this is really good. Now, of course, I want these people to succeed as much as possible. Udemy as well, because if these companies don't work, then my company will obviously not do as well either, right? So this is really interesting. And by the way, if you're a web developer, this is a really good website to look here. So you can see here that they're differentiating what they're doing here, and if they can get people to sign up, then that's really good. The problem, or the thing that makes Udemy really interesting, is that they can just basically crowdsource all the content and then sell it to B2B. But in my opinion, they should make the marketplace more scalable, and I think that would be a lot better here. But so this is a very interesting development here. So you can see that they have, they don't even have coding tutorials, which is also interesting. So if you look at this here, data engineering, a lot of data science, because data science is really key in terms of the corporate world, because like a lot of people can do it. And so, yeah, I'm actually, as a developer myself, this website is very, very, very well put together. And so I can't say enough good things about that. But anyway, you can kind of see that this is the content that they have. And building the other content out is expensive. But the real cost to all of this is the in-person support. And I think somewhere they said one-on-one. That's really expensive. Getting an expert to do one-on-one sessions in a B2B setting is super expensive, and it's very difficult to do. And you have to hire, like, it's not impossible, right? You have to have like a very good system of building content. Now, the thing is that these two guys are really good at selling the content, but one thing that's missing from the whole e-learning sector is people that can build content fast and efficiently. And that's why, to be frank, is why I'm still in business, is because I know how to do that here. So like, I know how to take all of the, like, if I were to, like, the problem is like, let's say you get a bunch of clients here. This is the least scalable part of a subscription here, right? And so you'd have to maybe build that into the pricing platform. But then again, the thing about Udemy is that they kind of race to the bottom, so they'll have like a bare bones price. So it's gonna be difficult to sell this. This is the hardest part. The rest of this stuff is actually much easier to produce. But whenever you have any kind of one-on-one with an expert, that's hard. Now, let's say, so like you have to do the math. It's like, so let's say you have, 30 people with one-on-one sessions. Okay, so you might have, 6 people, right? Or you have to, like, basically you have to hire a coach per X amount of people, right? To do the one-on-one session. Okay, group sessions is different because you can up the groups and whatnot, but there's that math there. And hiring these coaches is really difficult. And furthermore, it's very difficult to hire people because nobody wants to go into e-learning. And this all does relate back to Udemy. The marketplace isn't as scalable. So if the marketplace was scalable, let's say I was a good data scientist, right? And I put out a Udemy course and I made, I don't know, let's say $100,000 on it, right? But I really kind of just don't want to do the entrepreneurial road anymore. I just want to, kind of get paid to do something here. Well, Modal could come up to me and say, hey, would you like to do these one-on-one sessions? We'll pay you X amount per year. And then this is what you do. And then I would say, yeah, that would be good, right? And so that's the problem. And that's really the key reason why Udemy is stifling the entire e-learning market. Now, it's funny because it's a little bit contradictory. Udemy has made so many gains for the e-learning market, but it also stifles it at the same time. And we just don't have that. We just don't have that upward mobility in the e-learning industry, unlike the games sector or anywhere else. So let's just use Steam for an example. Okay, so let's say I make a game and I make $100,000 with that game, but I really don't want to do that anymore. I want a consistent paycheck. I can say, hey, look, EA, Ubisoft, Activision, I made this game and it made $100,000. I would like to get a job there, right? And one of those companies will absolutely hire you, okay? But none of that happens in the e-learning industry. And it's frustrating because it should have happened like 6 years ago, but it never did. And a lot of it is because of Udemy's reluctance to make the marketplace scalable. And in order to do that, they need to loosen the restrictions a lot, right? A lot. And you know what? The funny thing is that, a lot of these restrictions under the Yang era, they'd have to go back to, I say at least 6 years, but, even going back almost 8, 9, 10 years on policies that have been in place at Udemy for 10 years. And Dennis Yang I think he left in 2015 or 2016, right after the price change. So, the investors were not happy with that price change, by the way. Wow, they were not happy. I mean, I even talked to some of the investors at the time, and I told them that was the silliest idea in the world, and they kind of agreed with me, but they never admit that. So the point is that this is a really good idea, and I really hope they do succeed. The thing, though, maybe they're just trying to build this up to sell it out. That's another thing that they could be doing. But again, the one-on-one sessions is probably the hardest here, and it would be so much easier if the marketplace was scalable and people could move up. And if there was more companies like this that were hiring people, but it's not like that. No one really wants to go into training, and Udemy could change that, but they just don't care, right? They just don't care. That's the problem about that here. So in conclusion, I'm very excited to see where this goes. It's received $6-7 million here. I expect this to receive $200 million at some point in time in the future. Absolutely. If anything, if there's ever a recession, then they'll probably get more. They'll probably get more funding here. But nevertheless, competition is good, and I really do hope that these people do a really good job and make the e-learning a better place for everyone, right? Because the more companies and the more money that's flowing in, the better it really is for everyone, right? So that concludes this video. I want to know your thoughts down below. And if you really like this channel, you can pledge for our latest Kickstarter here. So this is our Kickstarter. It's the Complete Python Automation Machine Learning Bundle. Automation and machine learning and Python are going to be skills that are in demand almost all the time, because this decade, automation is huge, right? And not only do we have great tips for entrepreneurs with web scraping, we also have machine learning, we have mobile automation, and we have a Web3 automation here. This is really, really awesome here. So please pledge for this. The more you pledge, the more courses you get. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.